Hey everybody. So I every single day deal with this question as to how exactly do I format my data? What exact data do I need to use to train my models? Is it really just data? How much data do I need? What exactly do I need as far as the data sets to train my models? All these questions. And then so I decided to make a simple video. And anyone that is asking that question overall, this video is for you. This is a generalized video with regards towards data and AI models. I'm going to give you a lot of hands-on examples, and I'm going to give you actual data and actual training examples that I do like on a daily basis within this. So within this, before we dive into the data overall, I want to state a few things. Very first thing off the top is I say it all the time that data is the entire part of this process. Data is everything. And then I say this to my clients up front. They understand it immediately. They're like, yes, yeah, no, we understand data is everything. And then we dive into the data and they don't have any data. And then so it's like this is a concept that everyone understands on a surface level, but then when you dive into it, people don't actually understand it. So like people pretend to understand on this topic a lot. And then so let's dive into it. So very specifically, like to answer the question as to what exactly do I need to have as far as formatted data to train my model? And there's a few different answers to that question, but the bottom line is that like 70% of the time, this is what you want. General prompt and response pairs, just flat out prompt and response. And then the question will be, okay, so then what is the prompt and the response? The response is everything, the prompt is nothing. The prompt is like, what is it? What can you explain it? Like, how does it work? Very simply, right? Like the model is never going to be trained on the prompt column. It's always going to be trained on the response column. But the prompt can be descriptive, and then the model will get that information. And then so the prompt column is useful for the model, but the response column is everything. And then so what this means is that you want to get your data into this type of format, like at the end of the day, whatever it is. Like if it's math equations that we're looking at here, if it's books, etc., like you want it into columns. Like what's chapter 1 of Moby Dick? Chapter 1 of Moby Dick is column 2A, 2B. What's chapter 2 of Moby Dick? It's column 2B, or 3B, etc., right? Going down. And then so that's essentially all you need to do as far as like getting the data to this point. And then this is step one, right? And then so once you get it here, then you can do it. And then it's like could it be this simple? So I'll go to Hugging Face data sets here, right? And then we'll look at, I'm just going to Hugging Face and then data sets. I'm just going to pull like very first ones and we're going to look at them. And then so we'll see here, it's the same source, problem, solution, messages. This one is like, so sometimes you'll see, again, about 70% of the time, right, it's going to be in prompt response pairs, or like this, images, text, right, like 1, 2 columns. These columns can be named differently, and then so you'll want to pay attention to exactly what you're looking at here as to the column names, and then very specifically, capitalization matters, right? So this is all lowercase images, all lowercase text. That's going to matter. But you can see it's always like it's 2 columns, right? The input output, like, and then it's like looking at all these to give you general reference. I'll look at my data sets, right? That I have uploaded to Hugging Face, and then you can see like a lot of my data sets. A lot of them, like some of them get a lot of good downloads, and then so it's prompt response, and then it's or response null, like where it's just the response, right? Like some of them that's all you need, but it's going to be prompt response, and then in this instance you can see pay attention to that capitalization, right? Prompt response. I have other ones where it's all lowercase as well, but so bottom line in general, this is what you want to like get your data to as far as steps, and then that brings up to the next question. Okay, like how many rows do I want as far as my data? Generally, when you're fine tuning, there is an upper limit. Like you can fine tune on too much data on these models, and there's a lot of studies that have come out within this. If you look at my data set, so this is 750. If you look at them, like they're all like they're named like 750, 650. And then a lot of them, the upper rows, this is the max that I would ever go, right? This is 2,800 rows, and that's doing some max upper level testing and upper limit testing. And then so that gives you an idea. Like in general, my training sets are between 750 and about 3,000, like less than 3,000 rows. Like I don't want to ever touch 3,000 rows, right? Like it's way too high. I generally, my sweet spot is like 1,500 rows. That's what 1,500. I know that I'm in a good spot overall. And then so that brings us to the next question is before we dive into the semantics of this, let me just show you. So like the full process of training the model. So we've got our data sets, whatever our sources are, right? Moby Dick, a book, etc. And then we've got it, and then we've got it into our CSV sources. We've done this, and then we've uploaded our CSV source to Hugging Face if we want to, and we've done everything that we want to. What do we do to actually train the model from here, right? And then so that would be the next question that I would ask. And then that depends very specifically on exactly what model that you want to use. And then so I will give you, just for watching this video, access to this resource that I built out myself. I use this now like all the time. It's just my resource that I built. So every single model is different with regards towards the exact formatting that you want it to get it to from here. Every single model is going to want it in what's called JSON-L format, JSON line format, JSON lines. And then within that, like you can utilize any sort of text editor to get it into those and open those files, etc. But then they're just like I use Sublime Text. But they're just whatever that you want to use to download and view the files. But so every single model is different, right? So Chat Bison, Cohere AI, Gemini Pro, OpenAI, and then they couldn't be different within so OpenAI is good with this, but Google isn't, right? So like you can see I've got a difference between Gemini Pro and Chat Bison. And then there's a difference between Text Bison. I don't use Text Bison, but if I had Text Bison, it'd be different as well, right? Like I'd need a different one. But so each one of these is just a little bit different with regards towards the formatting. And then so what it's doing is taking these are all just, I run these cells and then I like whichever one that I want to use, right? So I first of all have to run this, no matter which one, just pip install data sets. Then I take my data set from Hugging Face, and I put it in here, and I put in whatever the name of the data set is. I can do it. It's going to take a few seconds to run to set up the data sets here as it goes through. But then so I run, and then whatever the name of the data set is, then I just go ahead and run that through, right, and have it execute. And then it will give out a file here. So then if we go here and we look right here, all we see right now are sample files. I'm just going to choose one of these at random, and it should run okay. And then let's give it a second. It's going to load on this data set. See, it's still going here. And I know it's still loading, right, because it's still gray up here, just so you know. And then and then there we go. And then now we have our checkbox. So then now it's running here. And then we're going to see a file pop up here on the left-hand side. Before it pops up, that's what I want to tell you is going to happen. That's going to happen except for if I hit an error. Nope. Maybe it's just because I have it open. So let's do this. There we go. See? Boom. Like magic. Look at that. And then so training data.jsonl, and then I just download this file, just straight up download. And then I can open this, and then I can open this in the text editor. it'll look like JSON-L, like nothing to you, like garbage to you, right? But then that's what you use to then you feed it into whatever AI model that you're doing. Like if it's OpenAI, then I go to the OpenAI playground and I just upload that data set, and that's it, right? Like there is nothing more technically complex than this. Congratulations if you've made it this far into the video. I've just shown you everything that you need to know in order to do and pull off that entire process. Like that's it. But so getting into it then, like the next question then is like, so what exactly should I be putting in these data sets? And that's the most important question, right? And then so bottom line to me, treat the model like a kindergartner that does not know a singular thing about the topic that you want it to, and then keep the topics as narrow as possible. And you will do great if you are keeping it along those tasks. So don't fine tune it on a lot of different subjects, on a lot of different data, on a lot of different things. Fine tune it on to do one job, and then give it a lot of everything that it would need to know about that job. Like, assume that it's a kindergartner in regards towards its knowledge around that job, because it is, where it's not going to know anything. Like, so if you wanted to manage spreadsheet data, like, you should give it data around, like, here's what a spreadsheet is, here's what a typical spreadsheet is, here's like what typical errors are, here's what a good spreadsheet is, here's what a bad spreadsheet is. Here's information about spreadsheets overall. Like, here's spreadsheet theory, like whatever like you want around that overall, right? And it's just essentially, and that's all you're doing. And then so when you're training and mathematically like speaking, and then what you're looking for at the end of the day when people are looking at the charts and the training charts, they're really like it's mean squared error and the loss rate of the model. But like looking at the charts aren't going to tell you anything. And then so like I can show you charts and then do like graphs and like, oh, like, but it's like like you can look at them and they're all going to be the same, right? But what matters is how does the model perform after your fine tuning and your training, and then what exact data do you need for that? That depends on your specific task, and that's where data science comes in. The science part of data science comes in, and there's no part around that, right? Like, so at the end of the day, what this boils down to is you either have the data or you don't have the data. If you're feeding it, if your AI is stupid, it's because you're feeding it stupid data. Like, that's flat out. It's going to be like, your AI model is going to be a reflection of your organization. If your organization is an organization that does not have data and lacks processes and is inefficient, then your AI model is not going to learn. It's going to stand up and it's not going to work. And then you're going to be like, why doesn't this work? Like, why does this process not work? It's because none of your processes work. And that's the bottom line. And then the opposite will be true as well. And then that's kind of the bottom line that I can give you with regards towards AI overall. Last thing that I'll note here is if you are an organization and you are running into any sort of issues with regards towards data cleansing and anything that you've seen here, I have massive amounts of experience with Fortune 500s with regards towards these types of data and this data set and their data sets and organizing their data. And if that's something that you want to have more coaching on or have more conversations on at any level, please reach out. If you like this type of content, please like and subscribe. Thank you very much.